Welcome to Being in New York. I'm your host, Carlos David, and today we are with Xianix Barrera. Xianix, welcome. Can you start by introducing yourself for people that don't know you, don't know what you do and everything?
Yes, so I'm Xianix Barrera. I am a flamenco dancer, teacher, choreographer, entrepreneur. I do a little bit of everything. Based in New York City. I live in El Barrio's art space. And I've been doing flamenco for 20 years. And I've dedicated the last 20 years to learning the art form and now, promoting it and making a home in New York for it. So
Your flamenco has been, as I understand part of it, has been sort of breaking certain stereotypes, I think, that there was in flamenco. And what can you tell us about that? How it became from, following the strictly, I guess, when you started, you wanted the tradition, and then at some point it's kind of owning it, I guess, right? And then bringing what it is from you, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, flamenco is a Spanish art form, right? I'm not Spanish, I'm Latina in New York, right? So it's not exactly my culture, mi cultura, but, I've been learning it for the last 20 years and I respect it highly. And I know more or less the ins and outs of flamenco. But it is true that when you are doing your own work, you want to bring it to your territory and what you know. So, and then flamenco is the language that I use because that's what I'm trained in, So if I do, I did a production called Mujeres, all female, which is not very seen. It has been done, of course, but it is not so prevalent, that it's a female singer, female guitarist, female dancers, all female crew. Especially the guitar is very much male dominated, right? And I've worked with Antonia Jimenez, who's one of maybe 5 top female guitarists in the world.
Wow.
So that was important for me to kind of show, right? Or speaking on queer themes, right? I'm bisexual. So seeing stories of 2 women, love story, that is not very prevalent. Of course, now it is, but back in the day, not so much, right? So, I'd like to explore, but I also like to respect and honor the tradition of flamenco.
How was that received by audiences? Wow.
Yeah, there's no, especially now, el ambiente, ¿no? Que tenemos ahora, it's very much more open, and receptive. And so it is nice to be able to do these things and not be fearful or of the backlash. You should do it regardless, right? But it has been supported and it's encouraged, and you want to, highlight voices that are not always highlighted,
How did you got to the point of having the strength, the personal,
Yeah.
Because especially when you studying something that is so far away, the first thing that you want is to be kind of accepted by it, and there's all this, but then to overcome that and propose something that's a whole thing, right? How did you got to that point to be able to?
You kind of don't have to care, right? Because you can still do things even though you're afraid or you're not sure how it will be received. I guess that's the definition of courage, right? It's doing something even though you're afraid. So I kind of don't care. I mean, I do a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
Right? You're not trying to be expelled from flamenco world, right? But I think there's something for everybody. And even if you do the most traditional thing, somebody's going to have a problem with it. Right? So, you know, I don't know. I do think about that a lot. Like how do I do the things that I do? And I guess I think I don't care. I mean, I care. Claro, pero.
Yeah, no, because you were mentioning how you're respecting, right, the tradition and everything. It's not like a just careless thing.
Right. This is not, it's mine, but it's not my tradition. It's not my heritage, right? So I definitely want to honor it. But it is something that I've been doing for the last 20 years. And I go to Spain every year and I study and I immerse myself in it because it is always evolving too. You know, that's another thing that happens with the purists, los puristas, no?
Yeah.
That they see flamenco as a certain way, which is fine. You know, and then especially many of the more famous flamenco dancers, they also, you know, you get tired of doing the same thing. So you want to explore and you want to do different themes and different interpretations and different stories. You know, so at some point you just have to lanzarte. You just have to go for it and see what happens. And then if you fall on your ass, you're like, okay, well, we're not doing that again. Get up and you fix something else. I think.
I think a lot of the haters are gonna hate, right? Like haters are always gonna.
I mean, we need them, right?
Yeah. And how do you find when you have a fall? I don't want to call it a failure, right? But when you have, when you try something and it doesn't work, and this because I have personally, I'm always trying to find, how to make it a positive thing that will, help me keep on going instead of just. But there's always this dark hole waiting for, and it's all
ready for you to fall in there.
Yeah. So how do you manage to given that you're also taking so many risks, right? I think.
I guess I don't like to wonder what if. What if I would have gone to Spain? What if I would have stayed home? What if I, tried to do that show and it didn't work out? Or I don't know, like I don't like to ask. I like to know. Right? So if I do something and it fails, at least I know it failed because I tried it, as opposed to thinking, fuck, I should have, what if, So, and from your failures, there's so much to learn. You need failures, right? If everything's always going great, then you don't really appreciate it as much either, right? So from your failures, they're not exactly failures. It's just learning. I tried this way. That's not the way. Let me go this way. It's a journey, and you're trying to find your way, your voice. And I guess just having the courage to, try things and manifest what you want. And I believe the universe is on my side, and it's always looking for my greater good. And I put it out there, hey, universe, so I'm thinking I want to do this, that, and the other, and then it happens. So then it's up to me to either follow or not. And I'll say that's how I've kind of lived my life. Because there's so many people in my life who I wish I could have, and it stops them from doing things. And it's sad for me, like I wish they would have the courage to try certain things and see that it probably is going to work out. But you never know because you didn't have the courage to explore that and try that and be comfortable with failing. ¿Me explico? So,
Yeah, like we're not arriving to the perhaps what you were aiming or thinking that it would be, but to what in reality will happen. That is also a great thing, right? But yeah,
there's no real way to know unless you do it.
yeah.
So that's where I kind of, and for me, let's say if we were teaching, I really strive in giving that support and that, courage to my students who want to, let's say, do a competition or perform by themselves, or you can do it. Yes, you can. No, but because the voice and the ego is so strong. And I always tell them, like, check that bitch. Tell that bitch to sit down, go have a cigarette break. We have some work to do, right? You have to check your ego and say, because the ego's the one like, you're not good enough. You're not this, you're not that. And you can't listen to that. Go over there. I want to try this. Flamenco is very much about that, controlling that energy or that inner voice that is not helpful. So you have to be present in the moment, but also let go. So there's that balance. And if you're too much in the ego, then you're thinking too much and you're not expressing. But if you're expressing too much and not really thinking, then you're not, vamos a decir, en compás, you're not in rhythm. So you can't have too much extreme, right? It has to be a balance, give and take of each one.
In this out, I'm wearing I'll sit down and ask the question. In flamenco, I feel there's a lot of introspection and out. I don't know how you say it, like outrospection, expression, and there's like all this mix of emotions that become like a very strong presence, right? Like a very, all of a sudden, when you're dancing. And I've seen you many times transform, right? From this, oh, I'm so sweet. Oh, you're like, fuck, man, like, yeah. And so how do you do, like, if for me, it's like this mystery, right? Like, okay, where is, like,
where the hell did that come from?
Yeah, but at the same time, when I see you, I'm like, yeah, there's this like super strong person or energy, like it is, I can see it, but at the same time, sometimes like, it's not like, oh yeah, it's there all the, so it's a very interesting thing because it's it's not a Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. It's not like, oh, it's more like it is there, but then there is also this way of being able to in a beautiful way present it, right? In a very aesthetic way. It's not like, oh, I get angry. Nah. It's like, oh, this is such a amazing, beautiful way to see this part of you, right?
Yeah. I think that's what drew me. So I was very shy. I don't know. Shocking, great. But I was very shy when I was little. And I really wouldn't speak up or and then with flamenco, and I wasn't very good with my words, but with flamenco, it kind of gave me the words that I didn't have. So I was able to express myself non-verbally. There's different ways to express yourself. Yeah, with words, but for me, it was, movement. And then I've always been a big person, right? So tall and chubby, right? So, and flamenco, like, they love that. They accept that, and like in ballet or any other dance form, not so much. So when I came to flamenco, it was like, it gave me, it inspired me so much. And I felt accepted and celebrated. And there's a term called duende, which is that thing that you can't explain, that you can see or feel. And it is true that there is this transformation that happens, you know, either on stage or off stage with flamenco, which is music and the cante, the singing. That is like, I think it's that ego that goes away, and then your true essence really comes forth and you can express. And in flamenco, that's the beautiful thing, that there's expression of all the emotions: happiness, joy, you know, sorrow, depression, loss. You know, there's a song for everything, a letra. One of my favorite letras is dime qué motivo te echo yo para que me eche la ropita a la calle como un... ¿Cómo era? Pero dime qué motivo te echo yo para que me tire la ropita a la calle como un pícaro ladrón. What did I do to you for you to throw my clothes out the window like I'm a damn thief? Like, what? Right? So there's so many different emotions to express, and that's all within us, right? Joy and sorrow and pain, you know, and that's what I love. And it's always ending on a high note. So even if there's like, we start with this, the Solea la Madre. La Solea is like the deep song, cante hondo, super slow, super deep. You know, Solea viene de soledad, loneliness. But we always end higher and faster and happy. You know, just like life, right? You can't, there are those moments of lows, but you don't want to stay there. You shouldn't stay there. You always want to end on a high note. So it's that kind of metaphor for life. And it's hard to describe what happens when, let's say, you're in the duende or you're in that, it's almost like a trance. Right? It was what I was talking about before, where you have to be present because you're listening to the cante and la guitarra. Tiene que estar en compás. You have to be in rhythm, right? Rule number 1, we're out of compás. Right? And mindful that, you know, of the floor, you don't slip, you don't lose your balance when you're turning, but also letting go and responding to the energy of the cante and the guitar and even the audience. You know, like the, you know, American público americano, no? Mm-hmm. Where you're watching a show and you're quiet, and then at the end, in flamenco, so when we have that energy from the audience, like, oh shit, they like it, it's good, muy bien, venga, you want some more? You get, so it's all of those things happening at the same time. And then it creates, I think, that energy that you're talking about. Like, oh, what is this magic that's happening? And I don't know if it happens to you, but you can also, when you're watching, you can imagine that you are doing the dancing or the singing or the guitar, whatever, you know, draws you in. So you're also present watching, but you're also somewhere else, no?
Yeah.
Es muy bonito.
Yeah. It has that thing where those emotions, you can feel them, and there's like a catharsis, right? Where you are
absolutely
feeling it, and the whole situation, and you know, and a lot of the performances that I've seen here, especially, you know, these spaces that become so communal, right? Like all of a sudden, everybody, we're kind of in the same, and I find that very beautiful, very, very beautiful. Flamenco, in a way, is a family thing, right? And so, how do you manage now having a
having my own family?
Yeah, having a child, and how is motherhood, and you know, as a new part. Before, do you want some more? Finito more mezcal, baby. We're in the mezcal sessions.
That's what you should call them.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Mezcal sessions. Well, let me start with like when I was pregnant, I was performing up until the end, 9 months. And it was great because I would be, sitting in a tablao, a show. And I don't know if people really knew that I was pregnant, but when I would get up and they would see this belly, they were like, and I was like, you wait and see. And I would go ham. And then, of course, by the end, like that energy stopped and you're like, oh, like my shoes weren't even really fitting anymore. No. And the baby, Azul, my son, when I was dancing, tranquilito. He was not bothering nothing. He was like asleep. But then at home, when I'm the one resting, he's like, he's doing his own footwork. And then now he really likes the guitar and percussion. And some dancing. He did for a moment have like, he would pretend to be singing. But, I try to bring him as much as I can to all the things that I do. So he'll come to class, he'll come to shows. My mom was like that too with me. She would take me everywhere, So I kind of want to do the same thing with him. And he, all the time, Mommy, we're going to Flamenco? Hang on, let's go Flamenco. It's very sweet. But there is a lot of guilt, as you and I were talking about earlier. I want to go see this show. I want to go take this class. I want to work on this project, but Azul is here and he needs attention and, he's 3, so.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What?
It's tough.
Yeah.
But yeah, trying to every day find that balance of the things he wants to do and the things I want and need to do.
Yeah, I find a lot of this how to keep respectful of who you are and allow your partner to also be able to fulfill themselves and because the other option is to become this person that in the end is not going to be a role model or
No, it's true that it's important for them to see that you have your own thing, that it's not just mommy or daddy, that you have your own thing and you make the time for it and you respect it and you honor that, right? But it is true that they also need their parenting, right? I did feel like I lost myself in the beginning, maybe the first 2 years or so. Like I gained a lot of weight with him and I couldn't lose it. And then the postpartum depression and making the time for myself and then making the time for him. And I was like, oh my God, that's it. It's over. That's it. It's just the Azul show. Xianix no longer exists. And it's like, no, you shouldn't do that. Find a way to, there's always that word balance. It might be because I'm a Libra. It scales. But balancing that and trying to find yourself again and making time for you while also making time for them,
Yeah. I this moment of my kids are 7 and 9, and I find myself just kind of now starting to again get out of this thing of being that is the most the thing and that's it, right? And it's interesting because I think we each one have different times to understand the and what you were saying, the guilt, right? The guilt is such a such a personal thing of how to deal with it, right? It's one of us how to find the right balance again of
people talk about it takes a village, and now I really understand what that means, because it's beyond mom and dad. It's like the grandparents, the aunts and uncles, the friends, to because they are also important in your children's life. It's not just the two. So that's why, if you're with mommy, okay, you're with mommy, spend time with daddy, but also spend time with the grandparents or the aunts and the uncles and my best friend. And, so I don't know about you, but like here, I'm fortunate that I have my mom to help me a lot. But for you, like your family's over there.
Yeah.
How's that? Looks good.
We're back. This is up. Oh, this is perfect. Yeah, super, super cool. Great. So we're back on track. So I'm gonna change a little bit from the family back into New York and your work, and I wanna ask you how is you grew up in New York. How does the city influence your work and your approach to flamenco and your understanding of it and all that?
New York is so mundial, right? So worldly. So you've been exposed to like so many different things, and I've born and raised in Washington Heights. Soy Latina. My mom's Puerto Rican, my dad's Dominican. So there's a lot of different identities, I guess. There's the New Yorker, which I consider myself, the Latina, and then the flamenca. And then trying to balance all three.
How do you?
I don't know. I mean, it definitely, in teaching, I do understand that flamenco in New York as a school is different than flamenco in Spain. In the sense of, which is why I go every year, right? And over there, you can do 2-3 hours in the morning and 2-3 hours at night of class, Monday through Friday. And then there's flamenco shows almost every day, at the local tablao or in theaters and whatever. So you're just constantly flamenco all day, every day, living, breathing flamenco. In New York, not so much. There's life and work and kids and social. So here is more of a hobby. There are people who take it more seriously than a hobby, but you can only really take 2 classes a week. It's also much more expensive because the city is much more expensive. Whereas in Spain, it's much more economical and there's more competition because there's so many more teachers. Whereas here, there's only a handful of us who teach. And it's very New York, like get to the point, produce, because you need to make that hour meaningful.
Yeah.
Sorry. So, and then also, I'm teaching in English and translating what I've learned over the years of flamenco to somebody here. But I did notice that, there is, which happened for me when I went to Spain for the first time. I think I went after studying for 1.5 years. I was like, oh, what? It made sense. It was much more like a puzzle piece. Made sense. Because like I said, it's all day, every day. Whereas here, it's something I do for fun. So that's why now, for the last 4 years, this will be my 4th year, I take my students to Spain, to Sevilla, where I learned. And then I throw them with the teachers from over there. Because over here, it's much more, for example, we take class and then we do an audio recording for them to practice to. We do a video for them to practice to. Over there, no. You got to learn, you got to study, no videos or whatever. Let's go. All right, before, it was prohibited to even record, And over there is faster and much more intense, you know. So I kind of like to exposure therapy, just throw them in. Go ahead, flamenco in Sevilla. And then I'm appreciated more, you know. And then they can understand what the many things that I talk about, they can see it and experience it for themselves in Spain. Because it's like I said, it's an all day, everyday thing. And it's also Spain and Sevilla. Like, it's so different from New York. You know, you get to disconnect because here, you know, it'll be hard for you to focus because you have your responsibilities and your day to day and your house and whatever. Whereas over there is, you know, no job, no kids, nothing to distract you. You're just like hyper focused on flamenco, and they progress so much more. They do 3 hours a day, Monday through Friday day. Oh, I mean, I don't know if that answers your question, but in terms of the teaching, that's how I kind of see the need and then provide that so that they can understand and fully appreciate what true flamenco is. Not this like commercial stuff you see, flower in your mouth and the pasión. No.
Yeah, it becomes a lifestyle, right? It's the whole, and I'm sure for the students, as you were mentioning before when we were talking, it's a life change experience, right?
Yeah, so many of them. So for example, one student, you know, she's taking care of her, I think she said 106-year-old mother. She's like, I haven't left her in years. And I was like, girl, you need to leave mommy for 2 weeks. Find care for her. You need to do this for you, right? Again, it goes back to that of like finding time for you to not disconnect from you. And I know you have your responsibilities, but it's okay. And then she brought it up to her mother. Her mother was like, yes, please go. You know, so, and so many people think I can't study in Spain. I can't. Yes, you can. Just try it and you'll see. And because it's with people that you know, it's also a little bit more comfortable, a little easier to be exposed because they're going to class not with random strangers from all over the world that are studying in Spain, but with people that you know. So then you're like, okay, you have a little bit more confidence and can do it. There are people who've done all 4 years. Yeah, they just keep going. They just keep coming back because it's so fun and it's so life-changing and it's really special. I'm happy to do all.
It's so interesting this that you mentioned about finding yourself and giving to yourself how you end up at some points not, you know, like, oh, I'm completely away from myself or whatever, but just, you know, kind of in the day to day and in these situations that just happen by life and all of a sudden you realize, oh, where, you know, where's the person that I thought I was, or where is this, right? Because I never gave myself the time to, you know, and the importance of having a community or having, in this case, a mentor that will, you know, help you or guide you in a way, you know, because otherwise we just get lost in.
Yeah. I think like a structure, a plan helps, you know. We have class 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Monday through Friday. You can have a night of borrachera, but you gotta, you know, show up to class. Or for me, like mentoring and is very important to me because I struggled with that, to find somebody who would kind of take me under their wing and say, this is the way to do it. Don't do that. Don't do this. Come to this, you know. And I didn't really have that. So that's why it's important for me to be that for my students.
You said you didn't really have that.
No, yeah. I had to kind of figure it out.
I had a very similar in photography where I was always trying to find someone that will kind of, you know, And I don't know if I was just looking for someone, too specific but it never happened, right? It never, I found many different people that had, mentor or help in a way, but never kind of that what I was looking for. And yeah, it's so important what you say, because to become that person, right? That what that can help and that would have really help. Yeah.
The challenge I'm having now is that I'm getting too much mentoring, supporting other people, but I'm not supporting my own projects and my own study and stuff. Mm-hmm. So that's where I'm shifting now this year, of like not teaching so much and not putting so much towards the school and putting more into myself and training and exploring and, it's so much more easier to help the other person or tell the other person what to do than to tell yourself, like, hey, hang on.
That was exactly what I was going to ask. How are you balancing now with your own? Yeah.
That's what I asked. And there's definitely self-sabotage. And I have to do this. I have to do that. I can't go take class or I can't do whatever. No.
Te voy a... para que se vea ese señor un poquito más ya. Ok, tengo, bueno, salud. Una...
Mezcalito, mezcal session.
And everyone I'm trying to ask kind of the same 3 questions. Yeah. One is if you fill in the blank, New York is
life, home, excitement. Can also be engulfing. You have to say no sometimes. Sorry. It's what I know, and I love it here. That's why I never moved to Spain. I'm not ready for that yet. Spain is too slow and too chill and too like, let's go. We got shit to do. Maybe when I'm older, then me puedo retirar. No, I can go to Spain, and move there. But I never took that. Which is one of the things, the what ifs. That's, I think, the one what if I have. What if I would have moved to Spain? Would I be this international flying star? Or would it have taken me in a different path? Would I have what I have now? I don't know.
Yeah.
I actually found out in Spain that I had the interview for Barrio.
Oh yeah, for here. Wow.
And it was the day of my birthday.
Really?
And I was coming the day after. And I was so stupid. I was like, why didn't I change the flight? I didn't change the flight to come to the interview. And I remember I emailed back and I said, hey, I'm coming the day after. And I said, well, if there's apartments available, you can come. And of course I came, there were no apartments available.
Wow.
Yeah, and there was a box of buttons that said Barrio's Art Space. So I took the button and I carried it with me for, I think, another 4 years. And I was like, it's not my time yet, but the universe has my back. I'll find my way in there somehow. And then 4 years later, they called me again and they showed me the apartment next to where I am and downstairs. But I was making too little. Oh my. I was like, okay, universe, you're messing with me. It's like, okay, it's still not my time yet. It'll happen. And then Rolinda called me. She's like, Xianix, that apartment. 6 months later. Okay, I still haven't filled out, that apartment. So essentially, you got me there, Rolinda. And I was able to qualify, and I got in, yeah. But I carried that little button forever, and I was like, I will get in there someday, somehow. And I would say, like, like, for example, who would move from here? Sounds like if anybody ever moves, it's because they got something better or more exciting. It was always on a good note, not on a negative note. And just like everywhere, there's things that happen and people leave. So it worked out, and I'm so happy I was able to come in, because that's when flamenco and my business and everything exploded. Yeah,
it's fascinating, right? This, yeah. I mean, this building is fantastic, right? I mean, we're such a portal, and how it happened, right? So
serendipitous. Yeah. So
yeah. Wow. And well, I'm very happy that you. And for me, it has been, we met when you came already. You came very strong, but to see how even all of your work, everything has become more, stable, established, and stronger. It's a beautiful thing to see. And in that regard, to the importance of places like this, right, that are supporting artists and to help us all evolve in what we do is just a big thing. And the focus of the documentary, someday we're gonna do.
yes.
That's it. The other question is sorry, I just got stuck in this idea of the what ifs if you were in Spain, and it's these things now that I'm half the time in Slovenia, and here it's kind of this they're so different styles of life, right? They're so different, it's very appealing, but at the same time, it's like New York has this thing where it gets you to keep on pushing yourself.
Again, that balance, right? So it's nice, I'm sure, in Slovenia to disconnect and have the slow, soft life, how they call it. But then you also crave the fast pace, getting things done, the energy of the city. No, sir.
Yeah.
It's nice to have both. Obviously, you can't have too much of one thing or the other, and you need to be able to disconnect and enjoy, slower paced, more relaxed life.
Yeah, but in here there's this push. So what advice would you give to someone that is thinking of moving to New York, right? To become a dancer or to become an artist, or
do it. Don't ask what if. Definitely savings. Get your emergency fund going. I think you'd feel more comfortable taking any leap if you have, some money saved up, right? Like, for example, I haven't told you the story, but when I used to work for the government translating stuff. And stuff, I'm not gonna say, I was like suspicious, but very cool, right? And I used to make $30 an hour. And I was like, when flamenco takes off, then I'll quit this job and I'll focus on flamenco. And it doesn't really work like that. You have to kind of quit and all in, all energy in, right? And the dance company called me and they said, hey, we have a new project. We can pay you $30 a day. And I was like, well, I'm single. I don't have no kids. I don't have no debt. I live with my mom and I have a savings. Fuck it. I could always come back. I could always, work again. I live with my mom, I can always go back if this doesn't work out. And I was like, well, fuck it. Let's do it. From $30 an hour to $30 a day. And that's when flamenco took off. When I was able to say, I'm scared as shit, but I have some money. I don't have debt. Let's do what's the worst that can happen. And if it doesn't work out, I can always go back. So I think having that faith that it is going to work out in your favor, having a little money cushion is always helpful as well. And you can always go back, I think, for most people. So I think with that, just go for it. Find out.
Oh, Oh, that's great. That's great. And where people, if they want to look for you, where can they find you, your socials and everything?
Xianix Barrera Flamenco, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, everywhere.
Super. Thank you very much.
Hola.